At one point in my life, I thought I might want kids. Then I got older and realized I didn't. They stopped being a part of the plan. When I met my now ex-fiancé, he agreed with me at first. Then I unexpectedly got pregnant. I was going to abort, my ex-fiancé begged me not to. He said that he would raise the baby and have no expectations from me, no child support, no seeing her, etc. I thought about it and said fine, but no one could know. I said he'd have to tell people it was a one-night stand. He agreed. The baby girl was born, he took her, I moved out of the city. I told one person I trusted and then later, my husband. I did not tell any of my family. 17 years later, this young lady reached out to me. I spoke with my ex and asked if he was comfortable with it. He said yes. She just wanted college advice because she's going down the same path I did. We got to know each other and while I don't feel like her mother, I am proud of how she turned out. At this point, we agreed to minimal contact so I could help her with college applications and such. She calls me by my first name and doesn't consider me mom, but says she harbors no ill will. Knowing that my family could possibly find out somehow, I finally decided to tell them. They were pissed that I had kept this a long-term secret. My mother prides herself on being a grandmother, my sisters and brother have given her 6 grandkids. My siblings think I'm a terrible parent. My dad isn't so much upset with what I did in terms of letting my ex raise her, but thinks they should have been allowed to be in her life. I said that it would have been too hard because I didn't want to be there. He called me selfish. They're now all getting to know her. Was I wrong to not let them know? Not the idiot. Would have been a no idiots here, except your siblings think you are a terrible parent, you aren't a parent at all, and that's an idiot insult, and your dad thinks he's entitled to be in your offspring's life, even though you don't want to be and then calls you selfish for your rational and legitimate response. How would you have allowed her to be with them without being involved yourself, which is the exact opposite of what you wanted? And yet your father calls you selfish. He's selfish for his sense of entitlement and subsequent judgment of you. No idiots here. No one is wrong. You gave birth to your baby and gave her to your ex, similar to adoption, and that's a great thing. You even spoke to her to help her, though with clear boundaries. It's okay. Your family is upset because this is a huge secret and a huge family upset. They feel conflicted and that easily becomes anger towards the person who kept the secret. But you aren't wrong and they aren't. Now, calling you names is wrong, but my theory is this is misplaced anger at themselves. You were pregnant and gave birth, and they had no freaking clue. Not the idiot. You remained firm in your decision not to actually have children. I mean, you had one, but you were basically the surrogate and your ex kept her out of your life like he said he would. I admire that you both remained true to your promises. Your parents kind of doesn't have a right to be upset. This girl is not their grandchild, and it's difficult to understand why they'd be so upset, especially since you made it clear you didn't want to be a mother. You put the kid first, and that's what matters here. My family runs a tour company that operates small to large tour groups around the surrounding region. These span from scenic tours, historic sites, and even some whale watching. In order to make things run more smoothly, and also to the benefit of our customers, some of these tours are group-focused. For example, we have tours specifically for Chinese and Taiwanese tourists with bilingual guides. Along these lines, my mother started organizing family tours a while ago specifically for parents with young kids. She is very family-oriented, and these tours are her pride and joy, so to speak, being specifically geared towards making sure the kids enjoy themselves as well as their parents. It's also a great opportunity for kids to make new friends. Now, because these are a hobby of my mother and done for the benefit of new families, they are significantly cheaper than the main tours. 1 or 2 parents can simply buy a family pass for a set price and bring up to 3 kids at no extra cost. The family pass costs significantly less than 2 adult tickets for the equivalent normal tour group. For this reason, bringing at least 1 kid is mandatory, else people would take advantage of the price discrepancy. We are very clear about this requirement. Fast forward to yesterday, a couple without any kids shows up to a family tour they had booked online. I immediately bring this up and they explain they're child-free and book this one since the normal one was full. I explained that this is a family tour and we are very clear about this requirement, which sparked a ridiculous argument about them being discriminated against as a child-free couple. The online booking system requires them to put in how many kids they have, 1+, so they 100% knew about this. They definitely lied to book the tour. Eventually, I relented and offered to let them join the tour, provided they pay the difference between this and the normal one for 2 adult tickets. They refused, saying they already paid online and shouldn't have to pay more than the advertised price. Again, sparking a ridiculous argument about them being discriminated against. Eventually, the tour is set to leave and they, accepting I'm not gonna budge, demand at least a refund. I refuse since the tour was fully booked, meaning their fraudulent online booking almost certainly meant we missed out on another family. They claim this is illegal, at which point I gave them the contact details of our family's lawyer and said we would be happy to see them in small claims court. They swore at me before walking off defeated. Since then our tour group has seen a bunch of fake reviews from a child-free Facebook page, claiming we're evil, etc. Luckily we got them removed since they're obviously fake, but am I the idiot for my response to them? Everyone's the idiot here. If you can afford to make a family pass of up to 3 kids plus parent costs significantly less than just a regular tour for 2, you're basically charging people without kids extra to subsidize your mom's hobby. That's pretty crappy. Also, if it's that much of a difference, you should expect people trying to cheat the system, and that's entirely on you. I guarantee you at least one family you've had has been a couple with a nephew or watching a neighbor's kid or something just to get the cheaper rate. You're the idiot. For not just giving them a refund. Look, if the normal tour is full, it's a normal response for people to book one that they think is similar. It's not uncommon for small businesses to have websites that make you put in a junk info to go to the next screen. I know that you think that they were trying to cheat the system, but unless you have a very well-designed web page and a huge warning label saying repeatedly that you must have a child present attend, it's possible for people to make mistakes. Everyone's the idiot here. Your pricing is unfair. If anything, the family ticket should cost more, as they are getting a special tour specifically catered to families with children. Just because a couple has a kid, they not only get to take advantage of this special tour, but they get a special rate too. The couple also screws because they lied about having a child. However, they did this to take advantage of your unfair prices, so I understand the motive, wrong may it be. I'm 23, about 5 years ago I got a really nice inheritance from grandmother after years and years of probate. I am madly in love with this little ski town in northern New Mexico, so I went and bought a condo there. I use it whenever I can, but to make it feasible I also put it on Airbnb. It doesn't really make me any money, but I figure I'm allowing other people to pay my equity, and plus I have an awesome place I can use whenever I want. I try to be generous with my family regarding the condo, but after years of it being on the Airbnb market, I finally had to tell people that I can't accept long-term free reservations. It just happened too many times, where all my friends and family would reserve big holidays, or whatever months in advance, and then not only would I miss out on the income from those big events, a few times they didn't even show, or arrived late or left early. To illustrate how big a deal this is, I make 80% of my yearly income payment over about 25 days of holidays. It's a huge deal to miss out on that income. My sister and I are sisters for sure, but we don't really get along that well. It's even more exacerbated because she blew through all of her inheritance in about 2 years and really doesn't have much to show for it. So my house is a major thorn in her side. In April she asked me if she could reserve my condo for 4th of July week. I told her I couldn't block it out on my Airbnb calendar, but as long as no one rented it, she could use it. I even looked through my texts, and I even told her when we were talking about this, please understand that if someone rents it last minute, I have to be able to get the income. She agreed to that. I thought it would be a non-issue because the place always rents well in advance for 4th of July, but this year it didn't. She was supposed to drive up Saturday the 29th. On Friday the 28th I got a rental request for, not only 4th of July week, at the premium price, they wanted to stay on through middle of September. This is thousands of dollars which will help me install a new hot water heater. I told my sister that I was sorry, but the place rented last minute, so I had to let it go to the paying customer. Well, all hell broke loose. She screamed her head off at me, saying that she had made non-refundable rafting reservations, made special arrangements with her ex to get the kids that week, and soured a relationship with her boss for extra vacation time. I told her I was really sorry, but that had been part of our agreement. She said I was a stupid idiot and our agreement meant that last minute meant like week prior, not the day prior. I hung up on her because I don't need to be called names. But then I got many calls from my other siblings and mom saying that I was really screwing my sister over. Was I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. Even though you did warn her, in this case, most people would assume last minute not to mean literally the day before when it comes to making travel arrangements. It was so last minute that she was probably already at least partially packed, that is really last minute. Both of you should have clarified what last minute meant. It's on both of you. I get why you rented it for the income and probably would have done the same given how long they wanted to rent it for, and your sister will hopefully understand that in time, but you did screw your sister over in the process. You're the idiot. If you don't want people using your home for free, stop letting them use it for free. You said you were going to stop these reservations. Why did you let your sister have it? You could block it out on your Airbnb. You just didn't want to. That's fine. But don't let people think they can have it if they can't. Last minute isn't the day before. You gave her zero opportunity to get another place to stay. If she were to find something last minute, her budget for staying would have gone from menial to astronomical. Not the idiot made all these plans and non-refundable reservations, knowing that the condo could be taken away at any moment. Not your freaking problem. Also, I would assume these reservations would have to be made weeks in advance at least, so this definitely didn't come down to you pulling out at the last minute. A responsible person would have set up a backup plan with a hotel or something just in case, instead of 100% banking on a free buy. If it were me, I would stop renting for free. So my life has been turned completely upside down over the last few weeks. For the record, I am 21 and my brother, 28, just passed away. Up until a few years ago, my brother was living at home with me. He put all of his savings speculating on cryptocurrency when Bitcoin was around $300 and ended up selling out just before the peak. He owned lots of Bitcoin along with other coins he told me about. I don't know how much he made originally, but it was probably in the 5 to 10 million range. Anyway, shortly after cashing out, my brother moved out and we heard less and less of him. A few weeks ago we found out he had passed away after using medicine. Obviously, this was a massive shock as the brother I knew never did medicines other than occasionally smoking. To cut a long story short, surprisingly he had a will despite his age and left almost everything to me. This includes a house worth $800K plus and almost $4 million in cash and stock. The dispute is between me and his ex-wife. He has 2 kids with his ex-wife and didn't leave her anything. He put $500K into a trust to be paid to his kids, split 50-50 when they turn 30, but that's it. He never saw his kids because his ex-wife wouldn't let him, so I guess that's why he left most of everything to me. Anyway, kind of rambling here, the point is that I don't plan on sharing any of this with his ex-wife. In my opinion, the $500K he left his kids in a trust is more than enough to give them a very comfortable life. He left me the rest of his money, and I intend to spend all of it on myself and my future kids. Parents think I should at least give the house to his ex-wife so that my niece and nephew have a stable home life. Ex-wife obviously wants as much as I'm willing to give. He didn't leave our youngest brother, 16, anything, but I intend to pay for all of his college, etc., so that he at least receives something. Am I the idiot for being too greedy here? You are the idiot 100%. Clearly, your brother had plenty of money and access to lawyers to try and see his kids. A parent can't just deny access to the children at random. It sounds like she was granted full custody legally. If she was denying him legally allowed visitations, he could have used that Bitcoin money to take her to court. Given that and the fact that he died of medication, I'm guessing his ex had good reason to not want him around the children. Kids are expensive, and his children deserve to have access to his money before they turn 30. You are the idiot for keeping almost all of it for yourself. It wouldn't hurt you financially to at least pay for his kids' higher education, even if you don't want to give the ex-wife anything. Understandable there. Maybe it's a cultural difference, but I'm surprised that you're not sharing any of the money with your brother or parents. Paying for your brother's education is barely anything when you just inherited $5 million. Why would your older brother leave your younger brother nothing? Something's weird here. It feels odd to me that where you live you don't have to give child support for your underage children from your estate apparently. I do think you should calculate what his child support would have been and pay that until they are 18. I would like to say you are the idiot, but it seems it is a cultural difference where I live where this would be automatic, so it just feels to be really bad not to do so. But you should not have to pay additional for college, but did the mother handle this money the way she thinks it should be? So my teenage daughter, call her M, has been best friends with her best friend, call her K, for about a year now. They became friends right after K moved here. It's been a year and I've barely ever spoken to her parents. She's often sleeping at our home to the point where I decided to just buy another bed and put it in my daughter's room for when she stays. I am a very relaxed parent and so is my husband. As long as our kids are doing their best, we don't really set too many boundaries. And because Kay is basically my fourth child, I do the same for her, at least while she's at my house. So a few days ago the girls come home and they asked me if Kay could dye her hair pink in the bathroom. I asked to see her grades and she showed me. She was doing well and I said sure, I didn't care. I honestly just assumed she had already asked her actual parents and just wanted to see if it was okay to use the bathroom since Em got green dye everywhere when she did it. I told them to just clean it up after and they said okay. So fast forward to today when I get a very angry phone call from Kay's mother. She demanded to know why I told Kay she could dye her hair pink. I told her I said it was alright she used my bathroom to dye her hair pink. She went off on me about my parenting choices. She criticized my decision to let my daughter get piercings, a tattoo, or dye her hair and told me she wasn't gonna let my bad parenting influence her child anymore. I kinda just laughed and reminded her I was basically the one parenting Kay for the last year. I reminded her I fed her almost every day, paid for her to go on vacation, gave her a roof to sleep under 25 days out of a 30-day month, and so much more. This only got her angrier and she claimed that that was all over as well as Kay and Ms. friendship. Before I could say anything else she hung up on me. I've tried to call her and explain and apologize for the situation escalating, but she has blocked me. My daughter and Kay are both distraught and I feel awful for them both. I'm not really sure what to do or if I'm even really in the wrong here. Am I really the idiot here? Not the idiot, Kay's parents are trash, and nobody should have to call the negligent parent of the kid who is nearly 18 to request permission for that kid to do something that isn't permanent or dangerous. The people here telling you that it was your job to call an absentee parent about hair dye for a 17-year-old sound ridiculous. If Kay's mom is mad, the only person she can be mad at is her nearly adult daughter, even though this is a foolish thing to be angry about. Everyone's the idiot here, but mostly Kay's parents. You should have checked with her mother to make sure dyeing her hair pink was okay. The least you could have done was ask, is your mother okay with this, before giving her the go. Kay was being coy when she asked if she could use your bathroom to dye her hair. She probably knew her mother wouldn't be too pleased, so she used you as a scapegoat for permission. Kay's parents. They dumped all their parenting responsibilities on you and then got upset when you went treated her like her own kid. Not the idiot. Any parent who flips crap over their kid dyeing their hair is immediately the idiot in that situation. I can't stand those kinds of people. My high school girlfriend's dad was like that, flat out kicked her older sister out when she came home with dyed hair. Total idiot. I can understand not wanting an underage kid to get a tattoo or excessive piercings. I think that's absolutely when a parent could or should step in to at least calmly discuss the scenario, but something as temporary as hair dye. Come on.